Bournemouth, Chelsea, we were absolutely lucky to get anything from this game. We got dominated for the first half in particular. We were awful. The game was absolute chaos. There was no structure from either team, in particular us. It looked like 11 individuals on a pitch trying to play individually. We looked horrible.
Hello, welcome.
How are we doing?
I'm good. I'm really good. I'm
bet you are.
Cheshire cat, smiling like a Cheshire cat. It's wonderful. It's nice to see you. You've had a good weekend?
I mean, we won as well.
Yeah.
We're loving life. We'll be doing what? Eventually, one week we'll both lose. More likely, my team will lose, and
who knows? But it's all going rather well. I had a wonderful FPL week, which we'll get to as well. So I'm just feeling ultra smug.
Wow, look at you.
It's great. Look at me. I've got Arsenal branded stuff. I've got a Tottenham shirt behind me, so I can just look at that and go, it's great.
Yeah. What wasn't so great this weekend? Let's do some football. The first thing we have to cover is the yellow cards, right?
Yeah.
We spoke about it last week that we were like, after that Declan Rice red card, we're not going to see those yellow cards given anymore. They'll have a talk about it and that'll be it. They're done. 65
they doubled down.
Yeah, they doubled down.
Yeah.
65 yellow cards, more than any other Premier League weekend. We also broke the record for the most yellow cards in a game in Bournemouth, Chelsea. And yeah, just like they absolutely doubled down on it.
The thing is, how records are there to be broken, mate. This is what I've been waiting for this for a long time. So the old yellow card record be broken. I hated it. Even in the Arsenal Tottenham game, it was like he didn't even have to put it back in his, what was he called, Jared Gile. It's like he didn't have to put it back in his pocket. He just had it always ready.
On the Chelsea Bournemouth game, they literally said, "Why is he putting it back in his pocket?"
Oh, really?
He gave 14 yellow cards in that game and 3 members of staff as well. 17 yellow cards. What's that? Like every 6 minutes.
But what happens now? It's like in the Arsenal game, the one where Timber and Vicario, he grabbed like 2 pinches, right? 2 pinches of his top like this. He was like, "Oh, I'll have you," right? And then Vicario got booked for it.
Yeah, well,
but my point being, neither needs to get booked for any of that.
Yeah. I mean,
we used to have fights in games.
Exactly.
It was fun.
Absolutely doubled down in it. It can't go on like this. Surely next weekend and going forward, we're not going to get 65 yellow cards. The other issue is players get suspended for 5 yellows. So we're going to get to the point where we've got half teams being suspended every weekend, 5 weeks into the season. So, I mean, yeah, 1 week is a little bit funny. We're like, oh, here we go. Look at all these yellows. But we can't have this every weekend, and they need to sort that out.
But I just don't. I don't. Why does it seem to only? I mean, listen, I'm not watching a lot of other leagues, but does this happen in other leagues?
I can't.
The way it goes up and down. I mean, comment if you watch lots of other leagues. Do comment about this because I just can't. We just seem to have the lowest standard of refereeing in the world.
I want to know what happened in that conversation.
Yeah,
because they obviously had a meeting last week after the Arsenal, after the Declan Rice incident.
Who's the head of it? Is it still Howard Webb?
I don't know.
It just goes, right, lads, we've looked a right couple of mugs here. Yeah. Who sent Rice off? Covered like, sorry, I had to. And I was like, no, you didn't have to. And now we've all got to double down this week. Right, it's a yellow card for anything. Yeah. Player sneezes, yellow card. Right, so I don't want to see any player without a yellow card this week.
Yeah, but the other thing was they then didn't send virtually anyone off. There were the first yellows were all really soft. And then there were no second yellows for anything of the sort. Like in the Chelsea-Bournemouth game, which was the one that sort of got the headlines because it had the most yellows, there were several opportunities where players on yellows did something which would have obviously been a yellow in the first instant. And it was like, no, I'm not giving a yellow for that. Of course not. Don't talk to me. I'll book you for complaining. Yeah. That's not a yellow. And yeah, so
they're making it up as they go along. And the frustrating thing with all of this is that we always talk about the consistency, but the consistency of last week, and now they've gone, right, yellows for everything.
We need to be consistent.
This could be yellows for everything, right? And then next week, it won't be like that. Yeah. So there is no consistency. No. And it's infuriating because they always say, evens itself out throughout the season, but it doesn't. It actually doesn't. So, God knows what they're going to do this week. They'll have another meeting and go, whoa, lads. You took all right. I said go a bit further, but that was too far.
It proved your point.
Yeah, exactly. Keep them in your pocket.
There'll be none next weekend.
I know, but there'll be orange cards next. Yeah. We need orange cards.
We'll be playing 7v7 with those.
Yeah.
10 minutes in bin, there'll be no one on the pitch.
Too much. Too many yellow cards. I remember back in the day, right? I'm going to listen, you can buzz me every time I refer to Arsenal games because there's comments of people going, why do you refer everything back to Arsenal? Because that's the only thing I think about in my life.
You do talk a lot about Arsenal.
Yeah, I know. Great side.
Are they good or something?
They're great sides. Great side. Great merch. 18 new kits a season. It's wonderful. But I remember back at Arsenal Man United games back in the day, you had Vieira and Yapstam and Roy Keane grabbing each other by each other's throats. And it would just be like, calm down, calm down, lads.
Was doing a bit of that this weekend.
Yeah, but it would see calm down, lads, and they go, all right. And even them would get a booking for it. There's no need to be booked there.
No,
it's just annoying you can't have a fight in a game anymore.
More
fighting.
Yeah, when those Spurs Arsenal players piled onto each other, I was like, yeah.
That was good. That's what football should be like. Proper rivalries.
Yeah, it's true. The other trend before we get into the games, you need to tell me what a Barclaysman is.
See, I don't know what a Barclaysman is because, surely any player that played in the Barclays Premier League era, is that it?
Well, no. So it's like...
I love your teaching me, listen, old man, I'll tell you what. This is what the cool kids are talking about, right? Barclaysmen.
Yeah. A Barclaysman is meant to be someone who is known for being like a 1 or 2 season wonder in the Prem and
who decides this?
Twitter,
the internet,
the
right?
Internet.
Okay,
so
fine.
Michu, big Barclaysman.
Yeah.
Demba Ba, Barclaysman.
Demba Ba, okay.
Team Ben Arthur, probably Barclaysman.
Ricardo Fuller.
Yeah, don't know who that is.
Stoke.
Okay.
He's playing with an earring in.
Mr. Delap. His dad.
Oh, Rory Delap.
Rory Delap, Barclaysman.
Barclaysman. So it's not Barclays man, it's Barclaysman.
I would think Mun.
Okay.
I think I'm too old for this.
Oh, no, I know. Exactly. How old are you?
26.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
You're 26?
Yeah. Do I look younger or older?
I thought you were older. I genuinely thought you were about 32. Oh, my God. 26.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. It's because your knowledge is so vast that I thought you were older.
Thanks. You can check my lovely mug.
Look at these.
Mugs on a mug.
Sexy mugs on sexy mug. It's a lovely cup of tea. Thank you very much.
That's all right. But let's do some football. Let's talk some games.
You don't get Barclaysmen anymore.
You can, but I feel like the way the game's gone.
Okay.
The game has gone. The way it is gone, you don't get it so much anymore.
Okay.
But because you don't have players like one season.
Brad Friedel, is he a Barclaysman?
Dele Alli, probably Barclaysman.
Yeah. Do you always think about Dele Alli that when I think about someone going goal, Dele Alli, assist Kane, that was in capitals.
Ericsson.
In FPL, it was like capitals. Someone posted that. Now everyone does it. You do it as well now, but
it's who can be quickest.
Yeah, exactly, and it's great. I love it. Although I have to because my Now TV, if I want to sponsor it, they can. My Now TV is very much not now.
Yeah,
it's the complete opposite of now.
You watch it streaming.
So I have to because I've got alerts for FPL Harry on my Twitter. But I have to go do not disturb because otherwise I find out all the results before it happens. But I always think of Dele Alli just like that. That's the name that popped up in capitals. Yeah. What a shame.
What a season he had. He's at Everton still.
Man, is he?
I think
he is. He?
I don't know.
Google that.
Yeah,
when you have time.
We will talk. We got Everton to discuss again.
Yes.
Everton fans are not going to want to tune into any podcasts. Everton fans, if you are listening, we are.
I've got some positive words to come about Everton, so we can get there.
Some positive points. Maybe not any points.
Not any points, but positive points.
But we'll start at the 12:30 kickoff.
Yeah.
Before this weekend, I wanted to start a petition that we didn't need Man United on any 12:30 games because I just don't think it sets the weekend off on a good standard.
What do you mean?
Because apart from this, I don't think many of their games are that exciting. And this was a big different one, actually.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed this a lot. But yeah, feel for Southampton a little bit here.
Well, they started really well, Southampton.
Yeah.
Up until the penalty. And in it, they got this new young lad, Dibbling.
Yeah.
Is he called Dibbling?
Really good. He was
really
the one who got fouled by Diego Dallo. Very good young talent. They've got some
great
good
shot.
attackers. Yeah.
So it was a shame because they started really, really well, and I thought United were looking desperate, and I thought this is only going to go one way. Yeah. And then when they got the penalty, Archer took the penalty.
Yeah.
And they had another player on the pitch. Who's really good at penalties.
So
right?
Archer, in his senior career, has never taken a penalty or never scored a penalty, and Ben Brereton Diaz, your lookalike, was on the pitch, and he's 7 for 7 in senior penalties. Took them last year for Sheffield United when he was in the Prem. I have absolutely no idea why they think that Cameron Archer should be taking that penalty.
Well, he said, didn't he? Russell Martin said that he'd been doing well in training, and he'd been scoring penalties in training, so he wanted to give him a chance.
I'm sorry, but that's like you're in the Prem now. Like you don't give players chances,
especially
on
against United. And then they asked him as well. They were like, "Will he be taking the next one?" And he said, "I don't think so."
Yeah. Well, their main penalty taker, Armstrong, didn't even start the game, and that's been coming. Like Southampton fans have not thought he's been great. Cameron Archer's been given a chance, and he played all right, but there was just no way in a game like that, when you don't have a point in the Premier League, you've hardly scored any goals, that you should be giving a penalty to a player like that when you've got a proven penalty taker on the pitch. And as soon as that gets saved, the game flips.
Completely flips, and I didn't expect it to flip in that way, but because I was, De Ligt is a really serious upgrade for United. He's a really good quality player. Always loved him on FIFA. Always signed him on FIFA. But he must have been there thinking, what have I let myself in for here? Like all he was dealing with, it was last ditch tackles. He kept them. He kept Southampton from going, 1-0 up even before the penalty. And then for him to come and score as well. He was just having the game of his life.
Especially after the international break. So he didn't feature. He got subbed off at half-time for the Netherlands in his game for them. And it was a bit like they subbed on a youngster, I can't remember who it was, and it was a bit like, oh dear, is that the end of him playing for the Netherlands? And then for him to come back and step up and give that performance for United is fantastic for him. There was one other centre-back on the pitch who didn't quite have such a good performance, and that is Jack Stevens of Southampton. So, I mean, the first goal, the De Ligt goal, if you see the freeze frame of it, he's 2 yards behind every other Southampton player, and every United player is offside if it wasn't for him. And then, of course, the tackle on Garnacho, which gets him sent off, is again a horrible tackle.
It's just bad.
He sees Garnacho getting away from him, and it's just so high. We spoke about the Everton performances being concerning. This had falling apart.
Yeah, but then would you not, if you're the manager, are you not seeing that first half an hour and just going, look, this is quite encouraging? And I know encouraging isn't going to get you to stay up, but surely you're looking at that going, right, we're not just awful.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't see them creating enough chances. They got a penalty, but I didn't see them creating enough clear-cut stuff in the final third that they're going to score enough goals. And defensively, a little bit. So I'm a bit worried about Southampton. United were, once they turned it around, looking much better than they did in the first half an hour. Of course, Marcus Rashford gets on the score sheet finally. I think it was 193 days
since March.
Since he scored. But I think he's only played, to be fair, he's only played 6 games.
Right, okay.
So that was the big stat of 190 days since he scored for United. It's 6 matches.
I was supposed to do it. They haven't beaten them since 1980.
They've only played 4 times.
But my trouble with United is I feel like even the way Garnacho celebrated the third goal, sitting on the the advertising hoardings, and I just find all that a little bit arrogant when.
But he has that about him, and some footballers need that little bit of arrogance. Garnacho has that arrogance where he thinks he's incredible. And
I think United have that arrogance. I think you've got to learn.
But sometimes you need it.
Nah, not when you are where you are. I think low-key, build a few results together. I think you get it from the manager. So they're going, look, we've done so well. We won the trophies. We won. We played so well. It's well, no, you've been awful.
You've beaten Southampton 3-0.
You've been awful. Yeah. And I know you've beaten Southampton 3-0, but it's just go, no, right, that's the start.
Yeah.
I don't know. If it was my players, I'd be going, lads, don't be sitting there like that when you've been garbage for 3 weeks.
To be honest, if it was Chelsea, I'd be fine with it, actually.
Even if you've been that bad for 3 weeks.
But the thing is, the reason I think it's fine, particularly from Garnacho, is he hasn't started a game yet, and he's been so good for them when he comes off the bench. And again, he was very good for them. They've got a decision to make now because they've got Ahmad, who looked good again. Yep. They've got Rashford, who's back on the score sheet, and they've got Garnacho. They only have space for 2 of those. So Ten Hag does have a decision to make. And looking on the performances that we've seen so far this season, and again this weekend, I think most United fans would probably not have Marcus Rashford as one of them, despite the goal this weekend. I feel like Garnacho has performed consistently well this season, and Ahmad is a great youngster coming through. So I would be interested to see what happens. It does feel like the third one is going to be that early sub for them every week. Rashford, Ahmad, and Garnacho, they're going to only have to play 2 of those. So it'll be interesting to see who they go with over the next few weeks.
And I think, looking at United's fixtures, Palace away, Tottenham at home, Villa away, these it's 3 tough fixtures. You've played Southampton, you've won 3-0, barring the first half an hour where you were pretty awful. But, you've now got, I think Palace away is a tough fixture. I think Tottenham at home, we'll get on to Tottenham, but I think I don't think they're as bad as their position says. And Villa away is a really tough fixture. So it's like, I don't know if I'm not predicting United to get 3 wins there at all. So no. I don't know. I don't think they've turned a corner just because they've beaten Southampton 3-0.
No, I do think the new signings have fitted in well. Mazraoui looks good.
Yeah, De Ligt is brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's definitely strengthened their defence.
Did he get injured, Mazraoui?
Slight knock, yeah, he did.
Right, okay.
They went without Casemiro as well, which they start to look a little bit better. He, obviously had the horror show last weekend, and they went with Christian Eriksen, who, Barclaysman.
Yeah, he is a Barclaysman. Yeah. But I love it. It's like we've got this aging central midfielder that is not the player he once was. We must replace him. Let's put Eriksen in.
Yeah, it's true.
Did you rate Eriksen's performance?
I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was fine. And he does what Eriksen does. He gets to about 60 minutes, 70 minutes, starts to look a bit tired. But I thought he did a very good job and did a better job than Casemiro would have done.
Okay, yeah.
So fine.
Yeah.
And if they're playing once a week, he's fine. If he starts to have to run a little bit more than that, then it starts to become a little bit much. But outside of Man United, let's talk about the big shock probably of the weekend.
I'm excited to talk about this one.
Yeah.
Because your fiancée is a Nottingham Forest fan.
She goes out when the matches are on. So
right,
I sit watching Soccer Saturday, and then she gets back just before full time, and she's like, I can't watch this. I'm going to go and do something.
I see. So it's from nerves, not because she doesn't care.
No, from nerves.
Oh, right. Okay. But huge shock.
Huge shock.
Do you think that, listen, do you think the result tells the full story?
No, but a little bit. So I think the first thing is I want to give massive credit to Forest here and Nuno. They came with an absolute game plan and they did it to the absolute T and delivered on what they wanted to do, and they got 3 points out of it. So the first thing that happened was they didn't start either Hudson-Odoi or Elanga, who are their first choice wingers, right? Which you might think is a little bit weird. But they have gone to frustrate for 60, 70 minutes against Liverpool's first choice lineup. And then for the last 20, 30 minutes, they will bring them on, play against a tired defence, whilst Liverpool have to weaken their lineup with their substitutions. And then they wanted to play on the counter-attack and go and win the game. They defended like we used to see defenders throw, like the Szoboszlai had a chance with 5 minutes to go. There are 4 defenders throwing themselves in front of that to try and stop it going in. They did that the whole game. They defended heroically, apart from Sells almost dropping it into his own net about 20 minutes into the game.
Absolute skills.
Yeah, lucky to keep it out. But they were very, very good, and they delivered exactly what they wanted to. There were chances, though, for Liverpool early on, that if they'd have scored, then we'd be looking a little bit different.
It's I think, I know the sort of general consensus is, if we're seeing a proper Nuno Espirito Santo performance, this is what he's known for, solid defences, beating teams on the counter-attack. But, 1 or 2 of those chances go in early doors.
It's a very different story. But that's, you kind of, when you go away to Anfield, you've got to hope
they
don't. And as I said, like between the 55th minute and the 65th minute, Liverpool took off Jota, Diaz, and McAllister, and Forest brought on Elanga and Hudson-Odoi, and that was just such a turning point. Like we've spoken before about Darwin giving mixed performances. He offered absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I know. Ever since we spoke about that and seeing him brought on, I was really, because we spoke about it, I was like, let's see.
Yeah.
I was like, he's going to cause chaos. He didn't do anything.
Liverpool fans are starting to turn on it a little bit as well, that he offers nothing when he comes on.
And he cost a lot of money, I do always refer things to Arsenal, but it's like, how much did people bang on about how rubbish Pepe was? Pepe's output was good.
Wow.
Like in comparison to the players that aren't, like Darwin, they should be talking about that every week.
Yeah.
How terrible a signing that is. Yeah. But what I do think are good signings, when you think about how much Forest sold Brennan Johnson for and bought in Elanga and Hudson-Odoi, and I mean, they look absolutely fantastic. Elanga's the pass was superb.
Unbelievable pass for the goal, and the finish, trademark Callum Hudson-Odoi. Little loving. I absolutely love Callum Hudson-Odoi as a Chelsea fan. So I saw him, of course, coming up. Then he had the bad injury. I never wanted him to leave, but I understand that like his injuries, he went out on loan and then eventually he left.
And then you bought 40,000 players.
Yes, who are all not scoring as many goals as Callum Hudson-Odoi is. But yeah, I'm such a fan of him. And that Nottingham Forest attack, 8 points from 4 games.
Yeah.
Incredible start. They look so much better as well than a lot of the teams around them. Their defense looks solid as well. Going forward, they look like they want to score enough goals. Yeah, very, very big fan of them. They've got a couple of interesting fixtures over the next 2. I think they've got Brighton away this weekend,
Brighton
which I think
next.
will be a big game. Brighton have been very good so far this season as well. So,
well, that's the thing was like, like I'm always watching this with a bit of an FPL eye as well. So I was like, because I know a lot of people sort of went Aina in their teams, and I was like, right, maybe it's now time to start respecting this Nottingham Forest defence. But I don't think I'd be doing it with Brighton away next. But then Fulham at home, Chelsea away, Palace home, Leicester away, West Ham away. West Ham at home. I think Forest is a big surprise, and maybe that's actually a bit naive thinking of how good Nuno is as a manager.
Well, yeah.
To think that they wouldn't have started as well as they have and actually have a good season where they could be pushing a sort of 10th position.
And they should have it because they don't have Europe, so they've got to, once a week. Chris Wood looks like he's scoring enough goals. Elliot Anderson has also fitted in very well for them. But yeah, I think, not to preview next weekend, I think Forest Brighton next weekend has a really good game written all over it.
Top 4.
It is.
Battle of the top 4.
Yeah.
Great.
Talking of Brighton.
Yep.
Brighton 0, Ipswich 0.
Yeah.
I don't think the scoreline quite tells the full story.
Yeah, Muric was superb.
Yeah.
The ex-Man City keeper. But he really kept them in the game. And I think I was surprised because Brighton played really, really well and Belieber was fantastic for them. I constantly think of Justin Bieber fans, aren't they called Beliebers?
Yeah, they are.
So that's all I ever think about is that he's a Belieber. But I thought he did really, really, really well. There was a beautiful free kick as well from that guy Danny Welbeck as well. So I think Brighton fans will probably be a little bit disappointed with this result.
Yeah, they hit the post beans on toast a couple of times.
Yeah,
of course. FPL lens, they had no João Pedro, but of course that is a big loss for them. And I do think if he'd have played,
is there a report of how long that's going to be?
No, I think it was just he apparently came back with something from Brazil, so he's going to miss that game, and they didn't want to take a risk. He said if they played, he risked it being 2, 3, 4 weeks or something like that. So he should be fine, but they definitely missed him. He is. Every Brighton manager who goes there speaks very highly of him, and they probably would have found enough in this game if maybe he'd played to get across the line. But I do think we need to give credit to Ipswich. They've started the season well. Leicester, probably the other newly promoted team, who have started okay. But Ipswich have been impressive. They're creating chances. Leif Davis, their left back, I think he got 18 assists in the Championship last season, creates a lot of chances. Yeah. They have enough going forward as well with Delap, who looks like...
Yeah, Delap came close as well.
He'll score probably 10 goals this season, which might be enough for them. So... Again, going away to Brighton is a difficult game. If you're, a team that people are tipping to be down in the relegation zone, you go away to Brighton, you would take a point every single day. And you have to hope that sometimes the opposition misses their chances.
I think, I don't know, I sort of, since doing this podcast, I think so many times I would look at results and go, that's a poor performance from Brighton. They should be really gutted with that. But actually, when you really nail it down, they play that game 10 times, they win it. Yeah. So I think it's unfortunate for Brighton, but I'm pleased for Ipswich. I'd really like to see them stay up.
Yeah. We're big Ipswich fans, it seems to be. Every week we're going to be gunning for them to stay up.
They're Barclays team.
Yeah.
They're Barclays team?
I don't know. I don't think they are Barclays.
They're pre my time. Oh my God. Yeah. You're so young.
Other 3 p.m. kickoffs. Fulham 1, West Ham 1. Two teams who have started the season okay. West Ham have had a difficult run. Fulham absolutely had the chances in this game, and quite how they didn't win it. A late equaliser here. This was Fulham's game to take the 3 points from.
Yeah, Traore was absolutely amazing.
But also missed.
I know, but I don't know. It's sort of the weird thing with Traore is it's like he's a sort of player that I would love to see at a club like, a Champions League club that you can bring on. because he really is a chaos player.
So I had, a long time ago, I had a season ticket for a year at Middlesbrough.
Oh, yeah.
The season they were in the Prem.
He played amazing against Arsenal, I remember. I was referred back to Arsenal.
Yeah. Then they had him and Negredo. But like, he is so quick and so good on the ball, but his end product has always been dreadful.
Yeah.
And we did see it a little bit again. They should have put this game to bed. They late equaliser from Danny Ings, who is a Barclaysman.
Yes.
Absolutely. But they had enough chances in this game to put it to bed. Interesting lineup selection. They went with Raul Jimenez in this one.
Yeah.
Muniz has not scored in, I think, 7 games for them now. They went with Raul Jimenez, who got the goal. Again, I like to see him doing well after, of course, what happened to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, West Ham was slow out of the blocks in this game, and they didn't create nearly enough. They created that big chance at the end. They were very lucky to get a point, but this was really Fulham throwing it away.
And I think it's really, we've spoken about Elmer Smith-Rowe before, but I think he's always just needed that chance to build up his fitness to play 90 minutes. Again, he came off in like the 72nd minute, but he's starting every week, and he really does make a massive impact for them. I think it's such a good signing for Fulham. And I think Anderson, that was his first start as well. So another really good signing for them. I think I'm really liking what I'm seeing at Fulham. And the trouble is with Traore, when he's missing chances like that, does that mean you don't start him then? Because I don't.
But then last week he scored it. So
yeah.
They do have options out there. They've just signed Reece Nelson from you. So I do wonder if that will be the long-term solution for Fulham. Maybe. Like I don't see Adama Traore keeping Reece Nelson out of that Fulham team forever.
But maybe he just creates so much, and I suppose you're just hoping that he starts converting. But then there must be a reason why. I don't even know how old he is. He must be sort of 30 odd now. But like there must be a reason why teams like Wolves have sold him on, because it's great. He causes all the carnage, and people don't know how to deal with him. But then if you can't finish it, what are you going to do?
Yeah. How do you feel about West Ham?
I think yes, I agree with this result. And this performance wasn't good, but I think they've started all right, and I think their signings are good. Yeah,
Wan-Bissaka looks like a man reborn as well.
Yeah,
it's a shame that Fulkrog...
And Kilman is a good signing as well,
Yeah, Fulkrog looks like he's injured for a couple of weeks, so it's a shame, because he is got born goal scorer that maybe they need at the moment, and once they get Kudus, Fulkrog, Bowen linking up, there's going to be goals in that West Ham team. So if you're a West Ham fan, I don't think they're worried at all.
I just don't think they're not even. I think West Ham, if you're going to predict where they finish, is probably like 11th or 12th.
And it's winning games like this that they need to win a game like this if they want to push it further.
And I sat on a train on Saturday with an Ipswich fan and a Crystal Palace fan, rammed train coming into London. And I was really interested after the chat we had last week. I was sort of asking him, and I'm like, where would you like to finish this season, to the Palace fan? And he was just like, he said, it's always, you're just hoping to try and get sort of 8th or 9th. Yeah. It'd be amazing. But I see Palace as a really exciting prospect at the moment, where I don't see the same with West Ham.
Palace 2, Leicester 2 then.
Yeah.
Do you see Palace as exciting? They probably should have won this game. Jamie Vardy doing what he did, of course.
He's a Barclaysman.
Yeah, rounding the keeper. You don't see goals like that so much anymore. Going 2-0 up as well straight after half-time. They look like they've got, if they're going to stay up, the two players who scored in Jamie Vardy and Mavididi are going to be the two players that have to score 10 goals each, if not more, to keep them in the league. And that's what happened, and they got a point away at Palace. We have said a little bit that Palace have probably started a little bit slower than maybe we thought, but it did need someone like Mateta to get themselves up to speed for us to maybe see it a little bit differently.
Yeah.
They look good going forward, but I'm a little bit concerned about them defensively, which I didn't thought I would be saying.
But selling Anderson, that was a strange one, really.
True, but Chalobah's come in. They've signed Lacroix as well. They kept Mark Gay, got Mitchell and Munoz. Like, that's not a defence that I feel like is worse because Anderson's gone. So yeah, I mean, they look good enough, but I'm not seeing, maybe the Elise leaving is having a bigger impact on them than I thought it would. And
Nketiah had his first start for them, and I know a lot of the Palace fans are really happy with his performance. His movement was really good. He was the reason they got the penalty. Yeah. I think that's going to be a good sign-in for them. So I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see how it progresses with their defence.
Yeah, sorry. Just I was reading something. The other thing was that we got asked on the comments again. We'll post on every single week looking at big decisions we want to talk about. Is the Palace offside for the first Mateta goal?
Yeah.
So their pitch is, and the way their stands are built, but there's not room for them to put cameras all the way along.
How is there not room in the Premier League? Like,
so
I find this stuff so frustrating.
The first Mateta goal, they basically can't draw the lines in the right place. If you look at the still, if you look at the still where they've frozen it, they have a line coming down from whichever the defender was, and then there's Mateta in the middle of the box, apparently onside.
But his head,
he looks like he's miles off, but they've just drawn the lines the best they can. And of course that doesn't go in, and Leicester probably end up with a win here. So
I find it so frustrating. How on earth set an iPhone up? Like, what are you doing? Like, across the line?
Yeah.
Like, how on earth can you only have
The camera is probably 20 yards. For anyone who hasn't seen it, the camera is probably 20 yards further up the pitch than where the offside is drawn from.
And also, if that's the angle you've got, you can't then overturn the decision.
The linesman is confident it's offside.
Yeah.
It goes for it straight away. Yeah. I mean, it's...
I don't know. I think, I thought there were... Is it next season, automated offsides?
Yeah, it's halfway through this season.
Oh, brilliant, of course.
Well it's
done,
like
Premier League.
November, December time.
Excellent, yeah.
They couldn't get it ready. They couldn't get it ready for the start.
Yeah, they'll get it ready, and it'll definitely affect Arsenal in a negative way.
Yeah.
But I don't understand how that is possible. Yeah. And if it isn't possible, as I said, you can't overturn it because that can't be conclusive.
No. There was nowhere for them to draw the line.
They're just guessing.
The part of Mateta that was drawn from is behind the defender. So I don't quite know what they've drawn the line from.
No.
Maybe I haven't seen all the angles, but the one that they showed on the telly and on Match of the Day, I don't understand how they've drawn that as a conclusive onside when the linesman has given it offside.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just can't see how you can overturn that on-field decision with that angle.
No. Man City 3, Brentford 1. The robot continues to score 2 more. That's sadly for him, not 3 Premier League hat-tricks in a row. I actually wanted him to do it. Once he'd scored twice, I was like, I'll just get the third.
Yeah.
Like, just go and make it.
I know, part of me did as well. It's so infuriating.
Sorry, 2-1. I said 3-1.
I literally was looking at that going, did I miss a goal?
Yeah, who scored the third?
But then I thought, I'll sound like an idiot if I haven't realised it was 3-1.
No, that was me.
I thought, look, Man City, they started, Brentford started really, really well. Obviously, they scored in 22 seconds. They had another chance to make it 2-0.
Yeah. That Collins chance from the corner.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say he has to do better. It's a good save, but...
Man City would have won 5-2.
Probably.
But... you look at it at the moment, you're just like, who on earth? Like, obviously Arsenal playing them away next week, but Haaland is getting 5 chances a game. I think he scored 9 goals from 20 chances.
Yeah, 9 goals in 4 games. He's on par for, what's that, like 80 goals this season, if not more.
But he's missing chances.
Yeah. He had chances to put the third in, absolutely. I was impressed with them, but actually I come out of this game... Again, expecting City to win it and being more impressed again by Brentford. I feel like every time I watch them, I'm impressed. Of course, Visa went off injured after about 45 minutes and they missed chances early on and then your striker goes off and it's a bit like, okay, fine. Like, it is what it is.
It's a worry for them to lose Visa because having lost Tony as well, if he's got out for more than a few games, that would be such a shame for them because they've started really, really well.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, they have started really well, and I'm just impressed with them.
Yeah.
And Pep is... It's always interesting to me when Pep is positive and openly appreciative of opposition managers. He always used to say it about De Zerbi, that he liked playing against him, and he says it a lot about Thomas Frank. They set up very well.
Yeah.
They are one of the teams that knows how to combat Man City. They didn't quite do it, but they had the chances to go and do it. Yeah.
And it shows that a team try... I've saying this before. It's so frustrating when you're a team that are trying to compete against Man City and teams just going, I probably won't get anything today.
Yeah.
Where like you look at Brentford and go, no, we're going to try.
They absolutely
and they always
took the game
do, and they did twice last season.
Yeah. If they were 2-0 up after 20 minutes, I know you say they probably would have won the game, but Brentford have it in them to then see that game out.
Yeah.
Went to a back 5, slight change of system for them, which they often do against the top teams. They then play the 2 up front in Brian Mbeumo and Visa. Again, that front 2, I mean, we're gonna say it every week that I am very positive about Brentford and they will continue to do well. But then City just look like they're going to win games. And as you say, who is it that's going to take points off them? We're starting to see the likes of Rodri, Stones, Foden reintegrated.
Foden hasn't started yet.
No.
Yeah, they're frightening. But, even at 2-1 up, you need a game like this where they should have been 5-1 up by the time, once they'd gone 2-1 up and they were starting missing some chances. But then, towards the end, there was quite a big chance for Brentford. And then that can go in, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, they've drawn a game 2-2. You've just got to hope that happens, because at the moment, they look determined to win every game.
Every game.
It's almost like Pep's just like, with the charges, which, it's just...
That's starting today.
Happy 130 charges day. It's very exciting for everyone, whichever way you celebrate.
Says it's going to take 10 weeks.
10 years is when we're going to find out.
Yeah.
I saw them today, they might get... they're talking about they could get points deductions across multiple seasons. It's not going to happen. But I reckon there's part of Pep and all of that City team. Pep, I imagine, is always trying to find new ways to motivate that team. And he's just like, let's go win every game. Let's show them. Yeah. And I'm sure that's what he's going to try and do this year. Is like, let's beat the unbeaten Arsenal record. Always refer it back to Arsenal, but and try and win every game, because they're capable.
Invincibles, but you get relegated because you have too many points.
Exactly. Yeah. I would. Obviously, they're not going to win every game, but at the moment, you just can't see who on earth. If Arsenal next week can get a point there, you've got to be delighted.
Yeah. So, of course, the game next weekend, Arsenal City. Are you worried about that? Like, what would you take and what would you expect out of that game?
I would take a draw.
Okay.
I saw Gary Neville talking about it, where he was sort of saying. It was like, it's the second half of the season, you've got to go there and win. But the first part of the season, I'd be taking a draw there. And I would take a draw there.
I think they'd take it.
Yeah. What, you think City would take it?
Yeah, I would, because of how well they've started against you.
And we're so good defensively. I know we're going to get onto Arsenal, but it's like we haven't lost a game away from home in 2024. We barely conceded a goal away.
Honestly.
So I'm confident going there that we could keep them down to even just one goal. I worry if we haven't got Odegaard, which is most likely, how many chances we're going to create. But City do give up chances.
Yeah, they give up chances in every game. Yeah. Like, you think they are this solid defensive team, but they give up chances because of the way they play football.
I just wish we had Odegaard, but even without Odegaard,
Rice back.
With Rice back, obviously we've got this game, these Champions League games, which you touched on very well, I thought, with the new format, is that, away to Atalanta, who haven't started great. They've won 2, lost 2. But we're not going to go there with a second string team. But
it's Thursday night, isn't it?
I know.
So it's Champions League because there's so many games now. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Why are they doing them on Thursdays? Just because so there's more chance for people to watch them on telly.
Yeah, I think so. But then they've got Inter Milan. Like, it's not an easy game for them either this week.
Are they at home or away?
I think they're at home.
I just think if we can go there with everyone but Odegaard, then I'm confident that we've got a chance of winning the game.
I mean, when you put your defence out that looks like it does, you've got a chance of beating anyone, right?
I don't know. I don't know anymore. I came into the Tottenham game thinking we'd probably lose it. And then when you watched it, you were going, well...
I text you that. I said, this has got... When Spurs started really well for the first 20 minutes, I was like, this has got them missing a load of chances and you going and win this game.
Yeah, you did.
All over it. I thought there'd be more goals.
Well, that's because you know what you're talking about. I don't. I'm an idiot. But
you're pessimistic.
I am. I'm pessimistic. But I'm an idiot with all football, really. I'm a vibes guy.
Yeah.
And I just think, next week, now I'm confident going into the game. But I thought it was just invaluable for Arsenal to win this week with the week they've got ahead.
Yeah, that's true. So that's all the 3 o'clock games.
Yeah.
There were 2 evening games. The first...
I love an 8 o'clock on a Saturday game.
Don't you?
Keep those going.
I love it.
Why is that due to TV as well? When that because the Champions League couldn't have that on the Monday or something. I love
Chelsea Bournemouth could have been on the Monday because neither of us have a midweek fixture. But anyway, the first one, the 5:30 game, Aston Villa 3, Everton 2.
What a game!
I think the first time in Premier League history that a team has thrown away 2-2-0 leads in a row.
Do you know what I loved about this was when you watch it on Match of the Day, if you're an Everton fan, right, you tune in and you're like, we're up first, right? And they're watching it and they go, we're 2-0 up.
That's why we're up first.
That's why we're up first. So as you're an Everton fan, you're sitting there thinking, right, we've either won 10-0 or we've lost 3-2 again.
and as soon as the first one goes in, they're like, we've lost 3-2 again.
Yeah, of course. You must have known straight away. And I just Everton, man, and as soon as the first goal went in, you knew it was happening. I tried to listen. I don't advocate betting, and unless they want to sponsor us, but I don't advocate betting. But I saw when they went 2-0 down, I went, I'll have a little check of those odds.
Yeah.
And they were rubbish. They were like, it probably happened. It was like 11-2 or something like that. The Villa would come back and win. I mean, it wasn't a capitulation in the same way that the week before it all happened in about 10 minutes.
It was a more drawn out.
It was a drawn out one. And the thing is...
Still looked as obvious. It looked more obvious.
I'm disappointed for Everton, and especially for Calvert-Lewin, because... Is he a Barclaysman?
Yes.
You're right. So Barclaysman, Calvert-Lewin,
top 10 Barclaysman ever.
But he's had so many seasons of 2 or 3 years with injuries that he now seems to be fully fit. And
if they're scoring 2 goals a game, like they should be winning matches.
Yeah.
Defensively, it is now concerning. They of course they don't have Branthwaite. They need Branthwaite back, and as soon as he comes back into the team, we will see a whole new Everton. I do think that will happen. But they need something between now and then, because defensively it is massively concerning.
And the thing is like, Sean Dyche obviously is known for organising teams defensively, and if they can start scoring goals, he's absolutely sorted.
Normally Sean Dyche teams, if they're scoring 2 goals in a game, they're winning it.
Yeah.
Right? You don't concede 3. So that's why it's a little bit alarming. Of course, Villa they didn't look great for the first half hour when they went 2-0 down, and then they did start to turn it around a little bit. Watkins needs something just to go in, and it will start to flow. And you could see the first one went in, there was a little bit of relief, and then he scored the second one, and you were like, here we go. Ollie Watkins is back here.
And if Calvert-Lewin has got that kind of confidence, then Everton win that game. It's such a good chance to go 3-1 up.
They had 2 big chances. Yeah. One of them, I don't think he thought he was one-on-1.
Yeah, he didn't realise
Konsa was coming. You've got to. And then the other one, he rattles it against the bar.
But that's the thing, in his Barclaysman days, right? He's putting those away. And I think it's coming for Calvert-Lewin. I'm excited for him. I've always really liked him. They've got a good run
starting now as well. Like, they've had an okay start to the season, but they've got Leicester, Palace, Newcastle, and then Ipswich, Fulham, Southampton, West Ham. Like, they need points now. We're at the point where I still probably think they're going to start turning it around, but this is it. Like, they're looking at a run of fixtures where they need them now.
I think as well, like on Villa, Watkins finding his way into form, but with Duran pushing him all the way, and that goal, like I text a few people this, like for me that's one of the greatest goals I've ever seen. Right, I've had people going to me, "Are you mad?" I'm like, but like it depends what type of. I feel like you got to separate great goals into different subsections, because you got goals that are amazing teamwork. Yeah. You got goals where it's like, how did he flick that over his head? But like this. The bend on it was so far out.
There's an angle of it, which is, the company one where he scored.
Yeah.
There's an angle of it from behind Duran, and it is a peach.
I love
this weekend, there were so many good goals.
As well.
Yeah. Then Hudson-Odoi, of course.
Yeah.
Fabian Schär's was also pretty good.
Yeah, but that was deflection.
Oh, true.
But I just think that Duran goal, there's no deflection, and he's in good form, and he scored.
The confidence. He's
8 Premier League goals, and he's only started 3 games.
Yeah.
Do you start starting him now, or is he just that guy that's good from the bench?
Yeah, but it means you can. They've got Champions League this week. They can rest Watkins a little bit if they go up, or in the Premier League next weekend.
AC Milan.
Haven't they got young boys? AC Milan.
Oh no, they've got young boys. Sorry,
So we're interesting to see how they got on with Europe. They still lack a lot of depth.
Yeah.
Morgan Rogers, I want to give a little shout out to, partly because I watch him all the time because he's in my fantasy team, but also he looks like a really good. But
is he not another Adama Traore?
Yeah, he hasn't. There was one where he should have squared it to Watkins for a tap in, and Watkins was fuming.
Do you think he was fuming at the pass?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think he's fuming at Morgan Rogers for the pass.
Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad. Like, that should be put on a plate, and Watkins should be able to finish that with his eyes closed. But I am impressed with him. He was very good in the opening few games when they played you as well.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Very good. I don't want to say he feels raw, because I feel like there is a great player who already looks quite polished at times, but he needs to work on that final third product. And if he does, there's a great player there. Really good player.
Yeah, I mean, if you were looking at a player like that, especially when it comes to fantasy football, you're thinking, I might bring that guy in. Like, he looks on the verge.
Yeah.
But I just worry he's another like no-end product guy. But
listen, I think the
Emery
highlight
ain't starting him if he hasn't got the good final product.
I think the highlight of this game was Watkins is back. They needed that, and he needed that. Just going into Champions League, and with the run they've got, they needed that. John Duran, he comes out and says, like, we're talking about players that have got arrogance. He's come out and openly said he thinks he's better than Watkins.
Yeah.
But I don't mind that.
No, and I suppose I don't. After what I've said about Man United, I just suppose Garnacho just sort of annoys me a little bit.
But also, like,
I'm not going to get back onto that.
The interview after the game to Watkins,
yeah,
they just spent the whole time talking to him about how good John Duran was. It
Oh,
was
really?
so bizarre.
Yeah,
and he was
yeah.
there like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I've been like, yeah,
I scored twice.
he keeps scoring. Like, what do you want me to say? Like, he's
Yeah.
going to take my place. I
Yeah.
also scored twice. Ask me about my goals, please.
Yeah.
Which I was a little bit like, just ask him about his goals.
I didn't
like,
see that interview, but do you know what? I would give a shout out for Luke, a shout out for Luca Digne, because I feel like he's not hit. I don't feel like he's hit the same heights as he did when he was like playing really, really well for Everton, and I thought his deliveries were really good this week, and like that's the Luca Digne that we remember. And
I'm surprised we haven't seen Maatsen get any minutes.
Yeah.
But maybe he is Champions League. Like, he got to the Champions League final with Dortmund. Maybe that's what they're going to do. And Luca Digne is going to play the Prem, and they're going to play Maatsen in the Champions League. We might see. We saw it with the Europa League with Alex Moreno, who's playing well at Forest now. But yeah.
kept Salah in his pocket.
Yeah,
Sorry to go back to that, but they were so good, Forest.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
Villa improved after the
Well,
break.
look,
the international break did
9
them well.
points after 4 games. You know, like, I know we sort of said, Villa are starting slowly, but we're going to have to see how the Champions League affects that.
Yeah.
But I think as a Villa fan, you've got to be pretty happy.
Yeah. Could have been much. I think the performances versus points don't quite necessarily say the same
But
thing.
they played better against Arsenal
Yeah. And didn't get
than
it.
they
But then
did in
you're playing
games where they've
Arsenal.
won. Yeah.
True. The other game that evening was Bournemouth Chelsea, or as I'd like to put it, the Anthony Taylor show. 14 yellow cards.
Yeah.
We spoke about it at the top of the podcast.
You watched this live, right?
I watched this live.
So why all the yellow cards?
And actually, like, it wasn't a dirty game. Like, you don't watch it and you think, like, the one I always look back to is the Battle of the Bridge, like that Chelsea Spurs game where there could have been, if there was VAR, the game would have been abandoned. There would have been so many
I
send-offs.
love that game.
Yeah, I'll watch it back. I had a question before we do this that I asked, and I'm interested to know what people listening. If you were on that podcast Desert Island Discs.
Yes.
If you were on a desert island.
Yes, I've heard of Desert Island Discs.
Yeah, it's quite
It's
quite
been around for 100 years.
It's quite a well-known one.
Yeah.
If you were on a desert island
Yeah.
and you could have the full match replay of one game of football,
Ooh.
what would you pick? And it'd be interesting to know in the comments what you'd pick. The Battle of the Bridge would be right up there for me for pure entertainment. I would probably, as a Chelsea fan, take something like the Champions League final in either the 2012 one, probably actually over the Man City one, because I saw that live, that Man City one.
Yeah.
So I've got enough memory of that. So I'd probably take the 2012 one. And if it's an older game where you might not have, you get it in proper HD telly if you wanted to. So that's the thing. And the Battle of the Bridge is right up there. Anything that come to mind? Again, let us know in the comments what you would pick.
Do you know what? Like, bizarrely, I always think the greatest game I've ever seen in my life is in 1999 when we actually lost. Arsenal lost to Man United and Giggs scored that goal.
You can't watch that back.
No, I know. But if I'm talking about games that had absolutely everything. Yeah. You had an Anelka offside goal that he doesn't realise is given offside, but he still scores it. You had the Giggs out of nowhere. You had Beckham's goal.
Yeah.
There was send-ins off. There was just everything in that game.
Yeah.
Missed penalty in the 90th minute.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm not going to watch that one back. I'd probably go with Arsenal beating Man United 1-0 in 2002 to win the title at Old Trafford.
Yeah, that's got to be up there. The thing is, it's the ones that, like, do you pick a game that was just pure chaos? Like, I could pick Chelsea beating United 4-3 last year, or Chelsea drawing 4-4 with City last year, but because that's chaos. And if I watched that 100 times, I would enjoy it all the time. Or do you pick something that's your team winning something?
Yeah. Well, do you know what? If it's chaos, the first, I can't believe there's two, the first 5-2 against Tottenham, we're like 2-0 down. And we weren't playing well.
What about the one
at
against
all.
Reading?
You what?
The Reading in the Cup.
The Reading in the Cup. Yeah, that was good, but that was nuts.
Yeah.
But, beating your rivals after being 2-0 down, and they, and you were, we weren't playing well at that time.
No.
And to come back to win 5-2, it was unbelievable.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Right in the comments. That's a good question.
Yeah, it's interesting. And again, a lot of people come with older games or more modern ones. It's interesting to see people come up with. But yeah, Bournemouth, Chelsea, we were absolutely lucky to get anything from this game. We got dominated for the first half in particular. We were awful. The game was absolute chaos. There was no structure from either team, in particular us. It looked like 11 individuals on a pitch trying to play individually. we looked horrible. We gave away a penalty, which is Fofana, along with Jack Stevens, probably on, I think you said like the websites that score players. Fofana would have been right down there.
Right, yeah.
Horrible performance, kept giving the ball away. Back pass to Sanchez for the penalty, just didn't put enough on it and just sells Sanchez up the river. Sanchez, great performance. Saving the penalty, of course, you're suddenly going to get, a great performance out of him. First half, we were all over the place. Second half, made a couple of changes. Sancho came on at half time, and then, of course, Christopher Nkunku comes on and gets the goal. Sancho got man of the match.
Yeah.
Which, I love it. I mean, at first appearance, he plays 45 minutes, give him man of the match. You probably didn't, I probably wouldn't have given it to him.
Vibes.
But
These are vibes.
It does also highlight the rest of the team not being great. So from a Chelsea point of view, I'll take the 3 points. It's our first away clean sheet in 18 matches or something like that. We could take a leaf out of your book. You seem to never concede when you go away. So the thing I take away from it is our strength and depth is looking crazy. Like we get to that and we bring João Felix and Nkunku and Sancho on at half time or like 60 minutes in. And that's going to be a lot for teams to deal with. So even if we aren't looking fantastic, we get a lot. Cole Palmer was surprisingly quiet. Interesting to see, like, when we bring players like João Felix on, he gets pushed out to the right wing where he's just not nearly as good. So that'll be one to keep an eye on. Defensively, we had no right back again because Reece James is still injured and Gusto got injured. So that's always nice when we have Reece James that we don't have a fit backup. And then the other one, along with Fofana, who had a horror show, was Vega. New signing, youngster, got put in midfield alongside Caicedo, just looked massively off it. First Premier League start. So Enzo was ill and Lavia's injured as well. So we'll see what happens. So it's fine. You take 3 points like that. It was much more positive for Bournemouth than it was for Chelsea.
But I am pleased to see Sancho do well. I like I sort of have an affection for any players that go abroad and do well. That I sort of, and then when they come back, I want them to do well. And Sancho's one of those guys, at the end of last season, played well when he went on loan to Dortmund, went to a Champions League final. I like to see him do well.
Of course, because I am at United, I'd love to see him do well. I'd love to see it work because so many like Havertz going away, like a lot of the Chelsea players who go and do well elsewhere, I want that to be us for once. Give us one.
Yeah.
And he was good, and I'll be interested to see. Pedro Neto was fine, like he's very direct, and that is a great substitution, right? Pedro Neto off and Sancho on, like that's great, or the other way around. We have the depth there that will scare teams. Jackson then missed some chances as well.
How do you feel about Maresca?
Fine. It's going to take time. Again, it's a lot of new players. Again, like it's going to take time. Please, I don't really mind who it is. Let's give it to him.
Okay.
I don't look that we have an identity yet, though. That's my only concern. Like we looked like there was no style of play. There was a lot of individuals on that pitch. But Bournemouth, credit to them again. They looked very on it. They looked like they caused us a lot of problems. They hit the bar about 14 minutes in or something like that. They got the penalty. Evan Nielsen, unfortunately for him, he needs his first Bournemouth goal to get up and running, but he looked good enough as well. Defensively, they look really solid. They unfortunately couldn't play their new goalkeeper Kepa because we're his parent club.
Of course.
But yeah, very, very impressed with them actually.
He's a very good manager, Andona, and he's like again another one of these managers that have come from the Basque with Xavi Alonso and Mikel Arteta, and I really like him as a manager. I think he's going to go on to bigger and better things with respect to Bournemouth, but it just looks like they're going to be fine. Bournemouth, after thinking we were predicting them to have quite a tough season, but I think they're going to be absolutely fine.
It's interesting, they're playing a little bit different to how they did last year, because of course last year when you've got Solanke as a focal point, you want that, and you play to it. They don't have that so much. Well, it'll be interesting to see if Evan Nielsen merges to it. But they've got the likes of Sinistera, they've got Tavernier, they've got Semenyo, they've got a lot of good players in there that have the ability to score goals, and it feels like they are going to share it around, and it's a bit more of a collective team without a figurehead talisman that they've had in the past. So it will be a bit of a transition for them, not having that player who can bail them out in games.
Yeah.
But maybe it's, the players, Semenyo looks like he's wanting to step up. The players have got, all right, there's no Solanke there. We're going to step up, but we're going to do it together, and we'll see where that takes them.
Scoring, and they score that penalty, and they probably go on and win the game.
Well, it's a similar thing with the United Southampton game. If that penalty goes in, and it's 1-0 Southampton, whilst United are looking shaky, it's a very similar situation. Yeah. I mean, Nkunku took his goal really well.
Yeah.
Sancho assist. Nice for him to get on the score sheet. And
How did Madueke play?
It wasn't his best performance. I'm just a big fan of him. He's just very direct. It wasn't his best game, but it wasn't the best game from anyone, I don't think, particularly. So it's one of those you take 3 points and you run, really.
Okay.
Taking 3 points and run, probably is not the way I'd describe your game.
Well,
the North London derby,
the
big game of the weekend.
Yeah. I can't believe we've got 55 minutes and now we're going to start talking about
everyone
the game.
Everyone who says Luke talks too much about Arsenal, you can switch off now.
It was a wonderful experience. I celebrated like crazy when Gabriel scored, mainly because I knew he was coming in on my FPL team as well. And I knew I was the only person in my league that's got him as well, in my mini league. So I was just like, yeah, we're 1-0. And oh my God, I'm going to get so many points. So it was amazing. I thought Tottenham started really, really well.
Yeah.
And I think Tottenham, I think they're 13th and I've got 4 points from the first 4 games.
Start
in 9 years.
History.
But
in 9 years.
I think it's worst start in 9 years. But they're playing well, right? And I know, Tottenham fans are
playing well, mate.
Are so it's like we're playing well, mate. I always win things in my second season.
That's not.
That was a weird thing.
He's always a big one of being respectful to. He always is very vocal about being respectful to commentators, refs, and interviewers, and I didn't like that.
Yeah, but shall I tell you why? Right, because she was asking the questions. I can't remember who it was, and she asked the question, and then she said, I mean it in regards to trophies in your second season. And what he wanted to do was a dramatic pause. I could see it in his eyes. He wanted to do I always win stuff in my... That's what he was gunning for, right? And then she kept asking a question. He was like, let me do my dramatic pause. Right. I always win things in my second season. Like, that's what he was determined to do. And I think that was a bit silly of him when you've just lost your rivals. You're not
and you're on 4 points.
Tottenham fans are not going to be warm to you with that. But I thought... The thing is with Spurs is that they were creating chances. You're coming up against an incredible defence, so you've got to take your chances when you get them. Solanke had a good chance early doors.
Got it stuck under his feet a little bit.
The trouble is for Solanke is that you look at what Harry Kane used to do is hold the ball up so brilliantly. That's like one of his best attributes, as well as being lethal in front of goal. Now Solanke, he's a really good player, but he can't hold the ball up as well as Kane can do.
When was the last time that Spurs had a number 9 like that? Because it hasn't happened since before Kane. So they've not used to playing with a striker who plays up front and is in the box and wants to be fed through and be given chances. Like when was that? Like they've never had that. And even like substitutes, like when it's been Richarlison, when it's been Son, these players are there for the link up, which Solanke isn't. So it is a big adjustment.
Yeah. But I thought it would be
easier.
Listen, we've seen one game with Solanke now, and he got injured in his first game, and it was against the best defence in the country. So you can't judge it. Yeah. And I think they started well. I just think they've got to sort themselves out from set pieces. Last season, when Arsenal played them, they conceded 2 goals from set pieces.
Honestly.
And it was bad defending that.
You could see it happening.
People bang on about how brilliant Romero is. He was brain dead there.
Yeah, he's so far away. He's the wrong side. Like, I understand them not... Well, I don't understand them not having like a set-piece coach and not practicing defending set pieces. But if there's one team in the league, you need to do it beforehand. It is Arsenal.
Yeah.
If Arsenal are not scoring in a game and are not looking like they're going to score from open play, they will go to their plan B, which is get a corner, get some set pieces, put it in the box, and one of them will put it in.
With the ultimate Barclays team, Stoke, with a new Stoke.
Did it again.
But I think the thing is with that, we have to give credit to Mikel Arteta, and I sometimes don't think he actually gets enough credit because like when Arsenal are playing brilliant football, it's all wonderful, and when Martinelli and Saka, and it's all very exciting going forward. But in certain games, he does know how to change things. And in this game, we didn't have our first choice midfield because I don't think Partey starts when Moreno's fit. So that's our 3 midfielders out. And I know you can't boo-hoo about that. And Mikel said before the game, no excuses today. Right? And I loved that he came out and said that. But
if you'd have lost, he'd have given excuses.
Probably, yeah, and good for him.
He said, Rice, Odegaard.
He's a disgrace. He's a disgrace. But I think what they did brilliantly is we're going to nick it with a set piece. And if you're going to win titles, you're going to have to win games like that, win them dirty.
But for you, it doesn't feel like nicking it with a set piece. Like when someone else does it and they win 1-0 with a set piece, it's like, oh, they've gone and nicked it. They're lucky them. For you, it's like that was the game plan. Like that's not nicking it.
Yeah,
that is you have set up and you've done it and you are so good at it.
Yeah, but Raya made some good saves.
Yeah, he's on fire.
He's brilliant. And you look at Ramsdale at Southampton, and we were all gutted when Ramsdale lost his place. But you look and there is just a different level. And Ray started twice for Spain as well. Yeah. Like he's up for me. Raya has to be up there now with Ederson and Alisson as the 3 best goalkeepers in the league. He's alongside them.
So I think I don't get absolutely pummeled for this. I think he's a better goalkeeper than Ederson. But Ederson offers, he got the assist for the second Holland goal. He is the best ball-playing goalkeeper in the world.
Yes.
For City, he is the best goalkeeper in the world to play for City.
Yes, you agreed.
In that system, the best. And if you want to play and keep the ball loads, Ederson would be my number 1 pick. But as a shot stopper, it's Alisson first and Raya second.
But also, Raya's so good with his feet.
Yeah.
And he's so calm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a great and a really important result in a week where we go away to Atalanta on Thursday, then we're away to City. Having drawn with Brighton, to have not won this game, I think people. I know it's stupid, but people go, "Oh, that's it, Arsenal out of the title race."
You were a bit lucky.
Yeah, we were.
To not have a red card.
Oh God!
I'm gonna say.
Why are you saying this as a glint in your eye? I don't think you fully believe this yourself.
No, right. So let me say my 2 pence. So I'm talking about Timber.
Yeah.
The tackle is fine. It's a yellow card. He gave the yellow card.
It's not a tackle. It's not a yellow card.
Yeah, but he's given the yellow card, right?
Right.
If you think the tackle is a yellow or not, that's fine. But he's given the yellow card.
Gave it.
Yeah, he's given the yellow card for it. Then the aftermath, he's given Vicario a yellow card for the argy-bargy, but apparently he didn't. So when I said, I text you saying, why is... Because in my eyes...
You're on the wind-up.
He's given Vicario a yellow for that situation.
Yeah.
So why has he not given Timber a yellow for the same situation? Okay. And it should be a second yellow because it's separate incidents. Okay, the foul might not be a yellow, and actually he gave Vicario a yellow for talking, for what he said to him, rather than the argy-bargy.
He said, "Referee, I'd have another look at that."
Yes.
I don't think that was. I think that was probably a red. Is my advice.
Exactly.
He's probably said something like that.
But when I first
in an Italian accent.
when I first thought maybe it's a second yellow, is because if he's booked Vicario for the pushing and shoving, then surely Timber should get it for the.
What I found frustrated about it again, it's like he doesn't go over. He puts his foot on the ball, right? And the ball slightly rolls. It's like Rice 2 weeks ago. The ball, the millimeters, the ball slightly rolls, and then Porro comes smashing into him, kicks the ball.
There is some blinkers here,
right? Kicks the ball. So then his foot moves because if you watch it in slow motion, Porro kicks the ball, which makes Timber's foot go like that, and then graze. My toddler wouldn't even cry the way Porro did.
Then Pedro Porro, he's on the floor and he has a look at the ref. There's a moment where he goes, and then keeps watching. Do you remember? I think it was a while ago. David Luiz did it. For Chelsea, where he's fouling. He sort of stops, has a look,
and then he laughs,
smiles, and then starts rolling around.
Now that I respect.
Yeah. David Luiz, Barclaysman.
Barclaysman, yeah. So I'm so. If they'd have given a red card for that, I think Arteta would have taken the players off the pitch and said, "Right, we're not playing in the Premier League anymore." This. No, it's ridiculous. So I'm
not saying it should have been, but that was why at the time, before I knew what Vicario was booked for, I did wonder about it. And after the Brighton result, you needed to win this game.
Yeah,
and we'll see what Spurs do, but they need to.
Surely they're going to be fine.
They'll be fine, but they need to. It feels like a little bit they need time to adjust to the Solanke style of play.
Yeah.
Final game on Sunday. Super Sunday, to be honest. I quite like this. Talking of scheduling, let's take one of the 2:00 games on a Sunday that is not on telly and put it at 8:00.
Yeah.
Although it's horrible for fans. If you're an away fan.
So as in put it at 8:00 on the Saturday.
Or 8:00 on the Saturday.
If that's the way if that's the reason, great. I hate it when there's two 2:00 games.
Yeah, the issue is 8:00 on a Saturday is horrible if you're an away fan.
Of course. But then midweek fixtures are horrible for any away fans.
Yeah, that's true. Wolves, Newcastle. Wolves 1, Newcastle 2.
Yeah.
Newcastle started slowly again here. Wolves were very impressive. Big fan of their new number 9, who I've never seen, Strand Larsen. Playing up front, is a very good hold-up player. Got an assist, almost scored as well.
Yep.
Actually been really impressed with him so far this season as a good new signing for them.
And I like the way he, when they were 2-1 down at that point when he hit the post, and the way he was trying to get the fans going and stuff like that. I feel like, I think sometimes players don't realise that they can play quite a big role in charging up fans.
But I think it only works with some players.
Yeah. Odegaard does it all the time.
Yeah, that's fine. But like
First minute.
If Chelsea are playing, and I don't know, who am I going to pick on? Like
Nicholas Jackson.
No, if he did it,
the
the place would erupt.
Okay.
If Mark Cucurella does it, I'm looking at him being like, I'm all right.
Yeah, exactly.
Get on with it.
Just focus.
Yeah.
I it's worrying for Wolves because when I saw them play against Arsenal, back to Arsenal, I thought they played really well.
I thought they played well, actually. I'm not worried at all about Wolves.
Right, okay.
I thought they were good again.
Yeah.
Thought they created enough chances.
A good chance as well. Yeah. That was a good save from Pope.
Eventually these chances will go in. I think they are. When we spoke about our predictions for relegation, I've put them in the conversation, and I'd probably take them out of it now.
Right, yeah.
I've actually been pretty impressed with them. Of course, they've got who did they sign a goal? Ramsdale. No, they went Johnson from Palace. Sorry, the goalkeeper merry-go-round that happened at the end of the transfer window. Johnson of Palace is a good signing.
Yes,
defensively they are fine. Of course, they lost Kilman, but I think they've strengthened enough. They've got good depth. I was pleasantly surprised.
And
with
it
them
seems to be if Cunha can put his chances away,
and Strand Larsen can keep doing.
And
what he
Strand
does.
Larsen's a good signing.
Sarabia, Hwang Hee-chan.
I've
got firepower.
I thought with Newcastle though, like I really like Anthony Gordon, and
he was very good. He looked back to his best today.
He looked really great, and I felt like that was Newcastle's. I know it was a bit of a slow start, but that was probably one of their best performances of the season once they kicked into gear. And they made 3 transfers, 3
subs at half time, including Alexander Isak off.
Was that an injury?
So apparently he had a problem with his eye. He couldn't see properly.
Okay.
So they made the changes. They basically played without a number 9 because Callum Wilson's not there. They played Harvey Barnes, Jacob Murphy, and Anthony Gordon, and it actually worked pretty well.
Harvey Barnes has played well every time he's come on as well.
Yeah.
That's a great goal.
Absolutely fantastic finish from him. Yeah. So yeah, let's see what happens. Of course, I think actually the big thing that will go slightly unnoticed, but also noticed because he did score, was Fabian Schär being back. So of course he got sent off for the Luke Kempner lookalike, Ben Brereton Diaz. head
You're pushing this. You're pushing this since I text you saying he's got a really annoying face.
And then
anyway, he looks like you.
He does actually look like you.
He does a bit.
But yeah, I think that had a massive impact. And actually, interestingly, Lewis Hall played in the first week of the season, and when Fabian Schär wasn't there, they took Lewis Hall out. And I think that's partly because they went for a left back who offered a bit more defensive solidity. Whilst there was no Schär, they wanted to shoe it up a little bit, and they played Kelly there. Fabian Schär comes back into the team. Lewis Hall comes back into the team, and they look much better for it.
And the players they can bring on in Tonali, who
he's surely going to start.
We obviously didn't see for quite a while, and now we are starting to see him. He played really well. To bring on Barnes as well, who's a fantastic player. Like when you look at their team, even the starting 11 before those changes, and I know I said last week, I'm like, I think Spurs will finish above Newcastle. When you look at their starting 11, I like all of that team.
And no Europe as well. That's a big one. I'm a big fan of Jacob Murphy.
Yeah.
He will go massively under the radar.
He was very unlucky.
Yeah.
That was a great save from Johnston. That should have been...
Absolutely. He always has chances. He'll go under the radar because they've got a Gordon, and Isak, a Harvey Barnes. But he is one that is pretty critical, and he's playing very well for them at the moment. And
incredibly wide mouth. That's a wide mouth.
Yeah, I haven't noticed.
Look at a picture.
I'm too busy watching the football.
That's the widest mouth you've ever seen.
But yeah, I think they'll have a good season, and maybe we were wrong about them finishing above Spurs.
Talking of things that aren't important, I like Fabian Schär in the fact that he's got a bit of grey hair.
I hate his moustache.
I like a young guy with grey hair.
Yeah, it's nice, but his moustache needs to go.
Is that a moustache?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not as good as yours.
No, I've got a good... Me and Brereton Diaz.
Yeah.
Good moustaches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are all the games. It was, of course, another Premier League weekend without having no drama in it. Lots of drama, double negatives. What an outro that's going to be.
Yeah.
Lots of drama with it. Of course, it didn't in terms of our FPL points this weekend. Always nice to finish.
Well, we're
now
in a
that
league
we've got
now.
a league together.
Yes.
I had an absolute horror show this week. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I had a horror show, but at least I had Haaland.
Do you know what I'm pleased, right, is that I didn't watch your deadline stream. So all of you know how he does a deadline stream. I think if I didn't watch your deadline stream because I was working, but I bet you decided to put Wood in front of Gabriel. That was quite a tough decision on your bench.
Yeah. You've overtaken me.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah. So I benched. So I had João Pedro and I put Chris Wood first sub and Gabriel second sub. So none of my players on my bench anymore have played a single minute apart from Gabriel, who's got 15 points. My only returns this week were Haaland. At least I had that. I feel for the people with no Haaland. And then Smith Rowe.
Yeah. I mean,
Basically, the only difference between us is Gabriel.
I made 3 transfers this week. And I sold Saka, got an assist. I sold Nkunku. Scored, and I sold Isak. Oh, yeah, okay, you went off at half time. And I bought in Salah, who did nothing. Minter, who did nothing, got a yellow card. And I brought in
João Pedro.
Who
got you 15
who
points.
got me 15, yeah. 15 points. And then Raya with 2 bonus as well.
João Pedro didn't get you 15 points.
I see it like that.
Yeah.
I see it like that. And do you know what I thought to myself? If I hadn't done any transfers, because I always think like, if I'd have just done nothing, I'd have 4 transfers next. But if I'd have done nothing, I wouldn't have had... I probably would have had Nkunku to come on and score, but I don't think I didn't want Gabriel starting. Well, now do you start him against Man City?
So I put a tweet. I was like, I have learnt one lesson this weekend, and that's never to bench Gabriel. And I'm benching him.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'll bench him for this week, and I will never bench him.
Did you not just play him as a goal scorer?
Well, to be fair, I've got like Robinson away at home to Newcastle.
He was unlucky not to keep a clean sheet.
Yeah, so maybe. But after this week, I will start Gabriel for the next.
It's like, I promise.
I
solemnly swear.
I will start Gabriel in my FPL team for the next 32 weeks.
Okay.
After City away.
Okay. Well, the thing as well, what I am delighted about is that I put in 2 Arsenal defenders at the beginning of the season in Raya and Gabriel, and I wanted them to get through past City, and then I wouldn't have to wild card because I've already have it in place.
I see. Now I'm worried. By the way, I might have to wild card in 6 because I need Arsenal back.
What last thing we'll say on it is that Salah obviously looked unstoppable until we've all bought him in.
If he does nothing this week,
but that's the thing. Is it's like you have Forest shown the blueprint of how to stop those wide Liverpool players.
Bournemouth are no mugs.
Yep.
So we'll see. He needs to do a lot this weekend. I mean, he's going to be captained by everyone, I think, this weekend.
Yeah. I might still captain Haaland. I don't know.
You're not captaining him against your own team.
I can do that. There's win-win then.
I triple captained Haaland last year against Chelsea, and it was a horrible feeling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Icky.
We drew, and then we went 1-0 up, and we always take points off them. And I was like, screw Haaland. I want my team. I want the Chelsea win.
Yeah.
So it's moments like that I prove to you that Chelsea win is more important than my FPL team.
Yeah.
But that is all. The big game this weekend, of course, is the potential top of the table clash. Manchester City against Arsenal. We've spoken a little bit about predictions for it. Score prediction before we wrap up the pod.
I think it will be...
And any like big deciding factors on the game.
I think we're going to win 1-0.
There's no way you are stopping Erling Haaland scoring at the Etihad.
0 XG against Saliba and Gabriel twice in a row.
Have you seen him recently?
Yeah, he's a very good looking man.
1-1.
1-1. I think 1-0. I think it's going to be a bit of a masterclass. Rice will be absolutely champing at the bit.
Sorry. Last week, you were a pessimistic Arsenal fan, saying you were going to lose.
How many times do I have to tell
Spurs?
you I'm an idiot?
Now you're going to say you're winning away at the Etihad.
Don't listen to any of my opinions. I'm an idiot. 1-0. Go on the Arsenal.
Who have Chelsea got?
I don't even know.
Remember, we're away again. Away at West Ham.
Okay.
Oh, God. Oh, God. 1-1, maybe?
Away at West Ham, yeah.
I don't know.
Away at Liverpool.
I don't love that.
Away at West Ham, what are you thinking?
Away at West Ham, I'm going to go 2-1 Cole Palmer brace.
Okay.
And yours?
I think
maybe
2-1.
Chelsea.
2-1 to Chelsea, yeah.
Okay. Maybe we should, same as me. Maybe we should do this as a segment at the end. Score predictions.
Just for our teams?
No, for everyone.
Yeah.
Because it gets a bit self-centered if we just do it for our teams.
We are incredibly self-centered.
No, you might be.
Oh, I am.
Right, let's do the others quickly.
All right, then. So Villa at home to Wolves.
3-0.
Okay. Wow. With the Champions League,
2-0 then.
You've changed it now.
2-0.
Okay,
2-0.
I reckon it will be 2-1 to Villa.
Okay.
And Duran will come on and score a lovely goal.
Again.
Bournemouth away to Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool, Bournemouth, 2-0.
2-0 to Liverpool.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'll go 2-1
Liverpool.
to Liverpool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brighton at home to Forest.
I was about to say, this is my...
Brentford, Spurs. We'll do that one first.
Okay.
Brentford. So Spurs, Brentford.
Spurs at home to Brentford?
Yes.
I think Brentford are going to win.
2-2, I reckon.
Oh, that's a good shout. But I'll go with... if Wisser's out, then I think that makes a change. But if Wisser's fit, I'll go 2-1 Brentford.
Okay. Then we've got Brighton, Forest.
Yeah. I think this other than Man City, Arsenal, I think this is going to be a really, really great game, this. Tactically interesting. I think that'll be 1-1.
1-0 Brighton. I think it's going to be a great game, but I think there's going to be loads of goals in it. That's my prediction. Okay. Palace United. Now that.
Palace United.
At Palace.
I think 2-2.
I think Palace are going to win 2-1.
Nice.
Maybe
okay.
I'm pessimistic. They haven't been that great this season. Everton, a bit of a bottom of the table. Both teams will be looking for points here. We've got Everton away at Leicester.
I think that'll be... I'm going to go for another 2-2.
Oh, you've got loads of draws this week.
I love a lot of Desmond Tutus. It's going to be good.
These are Everton's first points here.
Right, okay.
2-1.
2-1.
2-0. Yeah. Have we done? No, we've got...
Fulham home to Newcastle.
I think this might be a draw as well. 1-1.
1-1.
I think it's close.
Okay.
And there's a lot of close games this weekend.
Yeah. I'm going to go 2-1 to Newcastle.
Yeah. And the final game, Southampton, Ipswich.
Oh, a corker.
Yeah.
I think Ipswich will win this.
Yeah, I agree.
3-0.
3-0, 3-1 I'll go. Southampton to get on the score sheet, but I think Ipswich will win this. I'm going to set this up. My project for this time to next week is going to be to do it properly rather than off the cuff. And I will set up like a score prediction or something.
Okay, yeah, great.
And if you are watching, please do let us know your score predictions.
Yes.
And which ones we got horribly wrong. If we predicted your team to lose, please do let us know.
Yeah.
Probably we'll get
I hope I've been reasonable about Spurs. I'd hate to think people... I'm not a gloaty Arsenal fan at all. I'm not. And
He's not a gloaty Arsenal fan who said they're going to win 1-0 away at the Etihad.
No, that's an arrogant. Okay. I'm arrogant. I'm not gloaty.
Okay.
I think Spurs are going to be absolutely fine. I thought they played quite well.
All right.
Well done.
Well, let's see. Let's see. I put the Spurs shirt just behind you for anyone watching on video.
Smell it,
yeah. Those are all the games for this weekend. We will be back next Monday. We haven't plugged once. We need to get better at plugging. Okay. If you've got to the end of the pod, like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. And please rate us 5-star if you are on Spotify. And if you're on Spotify and you want to tell us that we're still under American football as our category, we are aware and we are doing our best to fix it. But thank you all for listening if you're on podcast. Thank you all for watching if you're on YouTube. Let us know your score predictions and let us know if you could watch one football game. If you're on a desert island and you could watch one football game for the rest of your life and that was the only game you could watch, what football game would you choose and why? Let us know.
Nice.
Thank you all. Have a lovely week and we'll see you again next Monday.
See you later.